When it comes to the potentially best global ETFs that also fall within our DEGIRO core selection, you actually have two choices. In other words, the ICS Core World ETF or the Vanguard All-World ETF. The first one has the ticker IWDA, the other one has the ticker VWRL. Especially the Vanguard All-World ETF is very well known, the ticker VWRL. However, personally, I prefer the IWDA. You can find them going to products, tickers, trackers, and then to ETF core selection within the commissioning type. By the way, mine is in English. I also make videos in English, and they are automatically translated with artificial intelligence to our international business account, YouTube account, so that's interesting, but that's not why we're here. We're here for the IWDA. Let's look it up in the list. And here, iShares Core World with the ticker IWDA. This is one of the best global ETFs. The stock exchange is Amsterdam. This price here isn't that much, but you can buy it for 100 euros. So basically, you could start with the Monday investment from 100 euros. In this case, 105 euros. Regional coverage and the total expense ratio is 0.2%. Now why? IWDA versus VWRL. It's very simple. We're here for the best ETFs from the DEGIRO core selection and the best overall. A long-term perspective means the highest achievable return depending on your risk profile. Well, first of all, both ETFs are global, have a lot of diversification, so the risk profile is lower. Earlier, we talked about Invesco QQQ, which has a much higher risk profile, tracking 100 companies, mainly in technology, 6% technology, and the rest in other sectors, but all innovative. But the ICS Core World ETF tracks 1,300 companies and does so globally. So, both more diversification in stocks and also regional diversification. And the difference in choosing between the iShares World and the Vanguard World is simply the return. Over the past 5 years, it achieved a 90% return, while the VWRL ETF achieved a 56% return. There is still a small difference, and that's also why I'm specifically in favor of the IWDA. The IWDA is accumulating. Here, if you see ACC behind the name of the ETF, that means accumulating or accumulation, and it means that the dividends paid out by those companies are automatically reinvested in the fund. That way, you create more compound interest effect. Meanwhile, the Vanguard ETF is distributed. Here you also see DIS, or sometimes it says DIST, so DIST with a T, and that stands for distributed, which means they pay out dividends. So, then you'll see in your portfolio that you receive some dividends from time to time, but the dividend is low, plus you also have to pay dividend tax on it. But if you just keep reinvesting it continuously, you get a compound interest effect. And if you're a long-term investor, that's definitely what you want to see. 90% versus 65% is really a pretty big difference. And not only that, the ICS Core World ETF with the ticker IBDA is also part of the core selection and is a bit cheaper, but with an emphasis on being a bit cheaper. The expense ratio is 0.2%, while the expense ratio of the Vanguard All-World is 0.22%. Looking at the number of positions, the IBDA tracks 1,400 companies, partly worldwide, but mainly focused on America. With the Vanguard, it's exactly the same. They also track countless companies, something like 3,600 off the top of my head. We see it here, 3,650, and also mostly in America. I think that's a very important part, because that's a very important part. Isn't that risky? No, not at all. Statistically speaking, you already have enough risk diversification if you have a portfolio of, for example, 25 stocks spread across various sectors. So 1,400 stocks also spread across the world. And that's also one of the reasons why I make these videos. It doesn't really have much to do with spreading risk. So here we could actually say that the Vanguard ETF with more than 3,000 stocks has too much diversification. That might also explain why they have a low return. They have a lower return, and just with more than 3,000 stocks, it has the plan. That's a term, diversification, in English, diversification. Just look up diversification on the internet with a W. In other words, the deterioration of returns due to too much diversification. Yes, that all exists. You can spread risks too much, which means you'll get lower returns in the long run. But as a passive beginner investor, a global ETF is just a really good choice. You don't have to lose sleep over it. There are definitely a few important things you need to know. Just like the QQQ, which is highly valued, the IWDA also has a PE ratio of 25. Historically, 15 is the median, so anything above 20 is actually considered expensive historically. There are some great companies in there that historically haven't been that great. I should mention a lot of much stronger companies that have brilliant earning models, but still a PE ratio that exceeds 25 for a global ETF. That's where my concern starts to come in, at least for me. However, we're not here for in-depth analyses of ETFs, but more for a global overview of what the potentially best ETFs for Nigeria are in the long term, which also fall within the core selection. On the website itself, you'll find all sorts of information about the stocks, in this case, the top 10. And here, you can see the weighting. You also see much more diversification compared to other thematic ETFs. And yes, you can actually see what kind of stocks there are. Also categories like IT, finance, that sort of thing. And you'll also find geographical diversification somewhere on the website. It's the same with Vanguard. Actually, the only advantage of Vanguard right now compared to the IWDA is that the PE ratio is 21, so it's a bit lower. Not much lower, but it's a bit lower than the IWDA with a PE of 25. You can see the geographical diversification here, so a large part is in the United States, 60%, and actually the well-known names that are in there, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Alphabet, those are all the well-known names that obviously make up the largest positions in those funds. Purely objectively speaking, IWDA just achieves higher returns than VWRL. It all looks amazing over 5 years, 90%. That's almost a doubling of your wealth in 5 years. Well, really keep in mind that, as I just said, the valuation has risen so much that a correction is just very realistic. And it could very well be that for a long time an ETF delivers almost no returns. Unfortunately, the IWDA only goes back to 2009. So that's just after the financial crisis. But with a lot of ETFs that have a longer history, you'll see that the price level between 2000 and let's say 2002, just after the dot-com crisis, up to the 2008 financial crisis, barely realized any returns. Then there was a significant drop, so that was somewhere around here, and then slowly recovering, and actually only starting to realize returns from around 2012. If you had invested 10 years ago at that moment, you would have had no returns for 10 years. And with the higher valuation that keeps rising, that could very well be a scenario for the IWDA. How do you deal with that? Simply buy the dip. Keep buying more whenever these types of ETFs drop. The IWDA offers a lot of diversification, but even then, if you look at the short term, you still see regular dips of 15%. During the Corona crisis, it was down 30%, minus 30% in a short time. In 2018, there were also some overvalued stocks, down 12%. And in 2023, especially growth stocks that were overvalued percentage. And in 2023, especially growth stocks that were overvalued. Yeah, about a 15% drop. So you see, a 15% drop is already quite a lot. If an ETF like the IWDA drops by 30%, then that's the moment to really invest a lot of money, but only money that you can truly afford to miss for the long term. And the very long term means more than 10 years. Why would you do that? Well, simply for the returns. Let's say you invested in 2010. This is really a best case scenario because the past few years have just been incredibly good for the stock market. A year later, you would have achieved a return of almost 500%. 500% means your wealth multiplied by 6. If you had invested 100,000 euros in 2010, you would have almost 600,000 in 2024. Of course, you still have to account for inflation. 500% means your wealth multiplied by 6. So if you had invested $100,000 in 2010, you would have nearly $600,000 in 2024. Of course, you still have to account for inflation. Well, let's say you buy an apartment in 2010 for 200,000 euros. The chance that it would be worth 1.2 million 14 years later in 2024 is, in my opinion, very small. You do have leverage and other factors, but that's if you're a more advanced real estate investor. The chance that it would be worth 1.2 million in 2024, 14 years later, is, in my opinion, very small. You still have leverage and, of course, other things, but that's if you're a more advanced real estate investor. But simply put, stocks historically have the highest returns versus gold, bonds, and even laundry. Only we're talking about, in this case, global stock ETFs, even a global laundry ETF, that sort of thing. Only higher risk assets might come into play to achieve higher returns. And for example, the Invesco QQQ, which we mentioned first in this video about the best core selections, has achieved an even higher return, namely over 1,000% and I think 80% in the same time frame. So there's always someone above you